We'll move to the last analytical objective, which considers the startup level incubation. How effective was incubation services provided in the states, that we are concerned about in this objective, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and did it, influence the technology development? Did incubation form some sort of antecedent to, technology development outcomes of the startup itself? At the micro level, brief background literature. All of these with respect to services that is being provided, resources from infrastructure, specialized infrastructure, networking, and university knowledge base that could potentially be used, networks formed during incubation, and specialization of the university. All of these are actually there. McAdam actually points out that propensity to use the available resources that is available during incubation varies by stage, meaning we should consider stage also in some which way. The morphology of the study that we are considering at micro level is, we think the startups recognize a need with respect to resources that they need to seek externally, and they have the propensity to use those resources for their own development. For that, they join network-based incubation, and then they use the network support, resources from the incubator, specialized infrastructure, etc. And then that sort of could form an antecedent to capability development, primarily around technology. So the research propositions that we have here are: startups achieve better technology outcomes when they are associated with higher utilization of incubation services. Incubation services here includes both engaging with the incubator as well as the university. So we'll segregate that because there is a technical multicollinearity issue that will lead us to two different models. Then we have specific consideration for specialization. So did specialization affect this technological outcome is something that we want to check. We want to check if alignment with the university knowledge areas matter to startups achieving technology outcomes. We did the study in two stages. In the first stage, before going on with the main study based on a primary questionnaire-based, primary data collection, we did a case study at the Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, where we understood, networks, market access, university engagement, all of that actually matters. Hence, we took forward some of those questions in the main, questionnaire and collected data from 66 incubators across 66 startups across 18 incubators. And we tried and test the propositions that we saw. So we to look at this whole incubation impact, we split this into three framework, like a stages step. So when they initiate incubation, what matters? When they are engaging in incubation, what matters? And finally, was there any performance outcome? So we split it accordingly, so that we can actually see the differences with respect to individual typological characteristics. These are the variables that we considered for the study, and the definitions and the literature reference for those is given here. The important thing here is some of the dependent variables are considered as an indicator, which means multiple different items are constructed, and then we add them up to derive that specific construct variable. For example, technology outcome itself. So the instrument includes those fine-grained measures. We'll present some descriptive statistics around these startups. Among the 66 startups, you can see that most of them are knowledge-oriented. Most of them are, B2B, in the sense that is where most people make money from. The third one, with respect to the entrepreneurial experience of the, startup founder is also interesting. It is interesting to note that serial entrepreneurs, meaning having done a startup previously, they also seek a lot of incubation support, which means this need for incubation, is across both first-time entrepreneurs as well as serial entrepreneurs, and most of them are actually in not specialized incubators. Finally, we are comparing the incubation at the typological characters that we are considering. We have three graphs here, which indicates alignment to university is better among specialized startups. Utilization of university academic engagement is better among specialized startups. Similarly, incubation services utilization is also better among specialized startups. Similarly, if you look at the same set of items, alignment of startups to the university is better among research-oriented universities. Utilization among incubated startups is better among research-oriented universities. And you have incubator services utilization is also better among research universities. Because we don't have a specialization per se at a university level, we are looking at patent intensity in the next picture. What we see here is similarly, if higher is the patent intensity, when the startup got incubated at that university-based incubator, if that was higher, both incubation utilization as well as university engagement and alignment seem to be better. What we need to check is if these are significant statistical evidence to state something meaningful out of this descriptors. For this, at the initiation phase, we looked at university alignment, where we find that the patenting intensity is significant, matters, and also the orientation of the university itself. If these are higher, then the university alignment is obviously better with respect to this thing. Meaning, a research base and a research orientation at the university level is necessary for startup to align with the incubation services that is being offered itself. At the engagement, if you look at it, we'll focus on the academic engagement first, because if it is a research-oriented university, there is opportunity for the startup to engage with research groups, the developments that is happening at the university, what sort of impact that will make on the startup's own technology development, all matters during this phase. Similarly, if the incubator itself is specialized, they are able to utilize these services better because there is better infrastructure. Along with better infrastructure, you get human capital that is also specialized, networks that are specialized for the sector, etc. happens. So specialization as well as research orientation of the university matters during the engagement of incubation. At the final level, you see the performance. Achievement of technology outcome is better among specialized incubators. What we want to sort of figure last is that can we consider all these three together and then characterize the achievement of technology outcomes. What we did is we proposed two models where we are looking at the linear impact of the typological characters, control for that, and then the university engagement as well as the incubation utilization. And we look at the overall model across two. The reason why we split into two is incubation utilization and academic engagement had multicollinearity issues. So the first result is considering incubation utilization, where we find that better is the incubation utilization, better is the technology achievement or the capability development at a startup level itself. Similarly, specialization also matters. So the next model, which considers the academic engagement, meaning how well the startup engaged with the university that it is hosted as at the incubator. All the same variables with respect to engagement, with respect to alignment and specialization seem to have mattered with respect to technology development itself. The models are actually equivalent. So one could potentially look at this as incubation utilization probably compensating for academic engagement. Finally, we did not look at any business level outcomes with respect to impact of startups. So what we did here is that we had gotten data with respect to the innovation stage of the startup itself. On the bottom left, what you see is the stages of the innovation of the startup itself. The first three stages, which includes potential market analysis, technology transfer, design, etc., and the detailed design and testing stages, do not make any revenue. If you are in the first three stages of the innovation itself, then you're not making money. Whereas the last two stages, you actually make money because you are clocking revenue with paying customers. What we wanted to figure out was, if you considered the likelihood of a startup getting to revenue stage, in this case, stages 4 and 5, can we sort of look at it from incubation utilization or university engagement, for example. We here considered only incubation utilization because it includes the broader network access and other mediation resources that the incubator is providing. Again, considering the same typological variables that we had considered, and we also included some control variables with respect to entrepreneur's experience. The result is obvious. As the startups age, they make revenues. That is the only useful result from this, which is a very obvious result. What it basically indicates is that incubation, although has played a role with respect to technology development, does not form or inform us with respect to contribution towards business outcomes, because that is determined by the larger market, product market fit, other issues with respect to need for funding, etc., that cannot directly be predicted using just the incubation utilization itself. At a micro level, we can infer the following, where we have incubators providing agency to promote entrepreneurship, support entrepreneurship, etc., through mediating resources and knowledge. In the sense, we can alternately state it as incubators are acting as a conduit for university knowledge spillover that is happening for the positive benefit of technology development of startup itself.